When you've decided and you're taking the steps forward into your vision, the place that you're heading, right? You could say your highest timeline, and you've gained that clarity on what that timeline is, what that version of you is, right? You can see it clearly. You're doing everything behind closed doors and within to make sure that you're putting into place what's needed for you to become that person that you're destined to be, right? Or that you're longing to be, that you're desiring to be. Beyond that clarity, right, and once you know that vision and you're clinging onto it within, and you're putting all the practices in place to be that person, right, you're waiting for life to catch up, for the 3D to catch up. Now, a tricky part of this process, although it's beautiful, right, is when you're spending time with those that know you. They know the old you. Maybe this is loved ones or friends, and they view you in a certain way, right? And there comes a time, or times in our weeks and days, where we're catching up with people. We're telling them where we're at in life, and talking about our problems, or what we're overcoming, where we're heading, or discussing the big wide world and everything that's going on. What you'll notice is that you might feel a little bit of frustration, or it might be difficult when talking to these people and having these conversations, because you're trying to nurture this new vision. You're trying to nurture this highest timeline that you're walking on, right? You're walking the path, and you know that you're making big changes, adopting new habits and getting rid of the old version of you, right? But your family and friends, or people that know you, might not know this or might not see this yet, right? The work you're doing behind closed doors, the work you're doing within, and your vision. Maybe you have shared it with them, maybe you haven't. Sometimes there's power in not sharing it and holding it within, because their fears and doubts and vision of you is still the old version of you, right? And this can be frustrating, but it just highlights the importance of nurturing that vision, holding on to that clarity, holding on to that highest timeline, so that your default within that you've jumped onto, this new path that you've jumped onto, isn't shaken off once you spend time with loved ones or friends, or circles that you were very much in when you was the old you, right? And now I'm not saying to walk away from these loved ones and friends and family, right? Although some people do that, right? They move towns, they move cities, to really embark on this journey of what the new them is. And sometimes there's a place for that, depending on your circumstances. Not that you have to, though, right? We need our friends, we need our family, and ultimately they support us, they love us, right? So they want the best for us. Yet that doesn't stop their views of us still being what we've been up until this day, right? They're not at fault for doing this. Yeah, it can be frustrating, right, when you hear them talking about you in a certain way, or discussing things in a certain way, where you're trying to break those patterns, trying to break those mindsets, and doing everything you can to stay aligned with this new path that you've chosen. So nurture it, right? If the frustration comes up, or you find yourself in these conversations where you're still being viewed as the old version of you, even though you know you've jumped timelines and you're on this divine path of what's destined for you. You're just waiting for the 3D to catch up, right? You're waiting for the 3D to start reflecting and showing these changes that you're making, right? It's in these times where it's really important to nurture this vision of you, nurture that clarity, nurture that timeline that you've just jumped on. Because without us realizing, right, these conversations and spending time with people that know the old us can very much take you off of that, and it can be without you realizing, right? And this is the trick. So in many ways, even without voicing anything or telling them that things are changing and everything else, you've just got to hold that within and know that they're talking about the old version of you, right? Maybe the things that are coming up, or the way that you feel is the old version of you, and you're changing that. Okay, these comments and fears and doubts that might come our way, it's being centered and knowing that these can just bounce off you. Maybe the old you would have reacted, or the old you would have agreed, but the new you sees something completely different, because you've simply decided that is old, that's no longer you. So nurture that. Don't let that doubt, don't let that fear, don't let the comments on the old version of you sway you back into that other timeline, that isn't for your highest good. And then this is really important, right? In many ways it can be easier when we just go off and we do our own thing, and we shelter ourselves from all that noise and all that distraction, so that we can keep holding on to that clarity and holding that vision and walking this new path with ease. And there's times for that, it definitely does work. But as I said, it's not about letting go of family, letting go of friends, especially if they love you and they're supporting you. It's just that they don't know yet, right? It's just that they don't see that version of you yet that you see within. And that's what you've got to protect. That's what you've got to nurture, okay? So they're going to start seeing the new you as the 3D catch up. They're going to be already seeing the new habits in you, the new routines, and the new results. But in the meantime, nurture that part of you. right? And try and not get frustrated, and see that frustration as the old you versus the new you. How much you've developed, how much you've already changed from the old you. Otherwise it wouldn't be frustrating you, you'd be agreeing, right? And it's to protect yourself so that these visions of you that other people's have, the person you've been so far, is knowing that you are no longer that person, and protecting yourself so that we don't get deflated, so we don't lose track of that sight, right? We've got to know it within. You've got to feel it within. You've got to hold that vision and keep walking that path despite all the noise, all the opinions and visions that other people have of you, right? It's not for them in many ways to know where you're heading just yet. Time will tell, time will show. And it's down to you. Once you've simply decided to hold on to that vision, to hold on to that power that you've got, despite what anyone else is thinking. And maybe you are sharing the path that you're on and keeping them up to date with the things that you're doing, the changes and the vision that you see and the new timeline that you're heading onto. And in that as well can come confusion from others, doubt from others, fears from others. But just understand that these are the fears and doubts of others, and maybe the fears and doubts of the old you, the things that you're working upon, the things that you've overcome already, or you're working to overcome. So hold on to that, right? And see it that way, that this is the old version of me, and they're seeing the old version of me. They're not quite seeing the new version of me yet, but that's okay. That's for you to see. That's for you to feel. That's for you to know. And this is the importance of nurturing. Once we're making big changes in our life and we're simply deciding the life that we want to live, there is this period that can feel quite lonely, right? It can feel quite frustrating. But this is where it's a mental game and within, right? Of staying strong, staying clear, and knowing that you do have the power to stay on this timeline and make these changes and stay strong in them. And sooner or later, people will see you in that way, because that'll be the life that you're living. That'll be the person that you are. You may already be that person. It's just that those that love you and know you and have spent time with you over the years still see you as that other person. And that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely normal. It's very understandable, right? So hold that within, that vision within, and don't get thrown off. Don't let their doubts make you doubt yourself, because it is simply up to you to decide what path you're living. And then it comes down to the habits, your routines, the things that you spend your time doing that no one else sees, right? And then also the things that they will see just from being around you and seeing your development. And that's a beautiful path to take. That's a beautiful journey to be on. But there are these definitely these moments that we find ourselves in where it can be difficult, because people are still talking to us like we're the old version of ourselves, although we've made all these changes. We know within that we're on a completely different timeline now, and that's worth nurturing. It also can be quite exciting. It can also show you how far you've already come, because you don't resonate at all with that opinion or that view, right? And that says a lot. So hold that within, without getting frustrated, without getting annoyed, without the disagreement. As long as you feel it within, you'll stay at that frequency. You'll keep doing those things that make you this new version of yourself. Keep showing up each day. And it also might give you some motivation, right? It's like, okay, wow, yeah, these people still see me as that old version of me. And that's okay. Sooner or later, by you staying strong, staying clear, and holding that vision of where you're heading, and doing the things that make you that person, this will change. It's just getting through this chapter where the 3D's catching up, right? Others still view us as that person that we used to be, and that's okay. So take care of yourself and nurture that, and you'll probably recognize this, right? You can even put a comment below if you've recognized this or you're dealing with this, right? Because it can come up, right? It can come up quite often. The social circles we're in, right? And those that think that they know us, but they know an older version of us. They know us when we had different focuses, different ambitions, different views and fears of the world. And whilst I'm on that subject, it also ties into the big wide world, right? The things that we see going on in the world can make you doubt yourself, can make you feel like maybe this new path isn't for you. But if you know deep within, if you keep connected to that place within and you know this is for you, nurture that. And before long, you'll be that person that you're destined to be, that person you're desiring to be. And that'll be a beautiful moment. In many ways, you are already it, right? And this is why it can be frustrating when your outside world isn't quite reflecting that yet, and it can show through those that know us still view us in a way that we've overcome, in a way that we've developed from, right? So nurture it, stay clear, hold that vision, and let all those comments and conversations bounce off, because within you know the changes you've made where you're heading and the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world, and know that you're worthy of this continuing, right? Despite what anyone else thinks, because you can get through that, and you will get through that as long as you stay almost stoic and so clear on what this path is for you and the things that you're doing and where you're heading. And it doesn't matter if no one else sees that yet. In many ways, this is quite an exciting and an exciting part of the process to be in, right? It's all to come. But you've shifted timelines, so nurture that timeline. Take care.